your will on the side of faith and action. If you fight the fight of faith with all your willpower, you will conquer. Your feelings, your impressions, your emotions are not to be trusted, for they are not reliable, especially with your perverted ideas. And the knowledge of your broken promises and your forfeited pledges weakens your confidence in yourself and the faith of others in you. She is writing to a young man that is having a lot of trouble. And she says, you need to understand the true force of the will. Let me explain something to you. Come with me to the book of Genesis. I'm going to show you how God works and how Satan works to control the will. Genesis chapter 3. And we'll come to verse 4. It's the temptation of the woman. Satan appears to the woman in the form of a serpent and begins to insinuate doubts to the woman. Why doubts? He says, has God indeed said that of all the trees of the garden you cannot eat? A doubt. Why? Because when the mind is in doubt, you cannot exercise your will freely. Satan knows that. So he has to impair the mind. He has to impair the will before he can have access to it. And how does he do it? He whispers doubts into the mind. And then, notice the attack. In verse 4, he says, you shall not surely die. Another doubt, a stronger doubt. Now the woman doesn't know who to believe. She's confused. And notice now, verse 5 and 6. How is he going to have access to the will to control the woman to make the decision he wants her to make? This is absolutely crucial to understand, friends, because Satan comes to you and controls you the same way every time you sin. Every time you sin, Satan has used in you, if it feels good, do it. He has impaired your reasonabilities by creating a doubt, by creating a cloud over your mind so that you cannot reason properly. And then he takes hold of your feelings, your passions, and electrifies them so that they control you, and then you surrender to them through temptation and you sin. Notice what it says then in verse 5. For God knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. That's still insinuating the doubt on the mind of Eve. And notice now what happens with Eve. When the woman, notice now the next expression, saw that the tree was what? Good for food. What is he going, where is he getting attacked now? She is getting attacked in her appetites, true or not? She is seeing that the tree looks beautiful. And now her appetite is raised. She feels hungry. And notice now, even then, it says, pleasant to the eyes and a tree desirable to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. Dear friends, in order to control the will, Satan will always come through the feelings and then through the appetites and controls the will. And through the feelings and appetites, he leads human beings to surrender to his control and to do whatever he wants. Let us see how God does it. Matthew chapter 4. The will. Pure religion has to do with what? According to the spirit of prophecy, this is an inspired statement. Where does pure religion deal with? With the will, not with feelings. Feelings, appetites, they are not defined as true religion, friends. Notice how Jesus confronts temptation. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days, days, it says, and nights afterward he was hungry. Now when the tempter came to him, he said, if you are the Son of God, command that these stones become bread. What is he attacking? He's attacking what? Where is he coming to Jesus, friends? Oh, you're not fine. Where is he coming to Jesus? Jesus has fasted for 40 days. He's actually hungry, very hungry. And now Satan comes to him and says, hey, if you are the Son of God, just turn those stones into bread. Do you reckon that after 40 days, actually a nice loaf of bread would be quite appetizing? Oh, man. Let me tell you, after a few hours without it, we find something and, we gulp it in 40 days. But notice the reaction of Jesus. Jesus does not allow his feelings. He is feeling hungry. Appetite, the appetite of hunger is rising up. But Jesus is controlled not by his feeling and appetite. He is controlled by his mind, his will. And he reacts to the devil and says, hey, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. In other words, for Jesus, he would rather die than break the word of God. Simple as that. Can you see here the two principles? Eve is controlled through the feelings, appetites, the will is controlled, and now all her decision-making power is controlled by Satan. Jesus, on the other side, the feelings rise, the appetite wants it, but he surrenders those things to the control of the will. It's beautiful, isn't it? True religion has to do with the will, not with the feelings. You're in a bad relationship. Your husband doesn't talk to you, maybe he beats you. Feelings, your lower nature is telling you, don't be involved in this relationship. And at work, someone is treating you really nice. This man comes and tells you how beautiful you are and that you are a great woman and this and that. And here you feel really good. You come home. This man, it's a horror. Feelings are telling you, live. True religion doesn't have to do with feelings. True religion has to do with what? With the will. You're watching the internet, going through, and suddenly a pop thing pops up, and there you have a pornographic site and this horrible imagery before your eyes. Suddenly all your sexual appetites want to click there to go to the site, yes or no? Because the flesh is craving for it. You want the appetite, the flesh wants it, Satan is wanting to have access, but the Lord is keeping that will free. You still have the power to choose. What is the choice? You know that many, many men within the church are controlled by pornography. Many. Because they don't understand that the secret of freedom is found in actually surrendering and dying and giving the will to the Lord, so that now my will can be controlled by the Lord. It doesn't matter what I feel. It doesn't matter what my appetites are. I can be free from the control of Satan if my will is used correctly. Pure religion has to do with the will, friends. But Pastor Sam, this sounds like self-righteousness. Yes, because I haven't yet finished my sermon. The sad thing is that when we sinned, we surrendered the control of the will to Satan. Let me read this to you. I'm going to try to put it here. I've got to look for the quote. Last night I went into the writings of Mrs. White, and she has literally hundreds of statements in regards to the will. And it's just so beautiful to discover the plan of God to free